Hello, Dr. Dennis Kimbro. Welcome to the Global Classroom. Well, the first thing you can notice, I got a suit on today. Yes, I got a suit on because I came here to do business. I came to do business with not only you, but with my Creator. And number two, I'm on my way to the last day of school for my 8-year-old grandson. This is his award ceremony. So you know what's going through my mind. Yes, exactly. The events of the last, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? We're not even 2/3 out of the way of, through the month of May, and 3 shootings, 3 mass shootings. Well, I am obligated to say a few words and to address that. Now, as a nation, we got a number of issues on the table. You got Roe versus Wade, you got the midterm elections. But one of the issues no one's doing any talking about, and that has been my gift. That has been my blessing. You see, next month will be the 50th anniversary of the Supreme Court in 1962 striking down school prayer. And my generation was the last generation to benefit from school prayer. Yes, that is my gift and that is my blessing. Now wrap your mind around this. 9 Supreme Court justices who said they were going to take prayer out of school. How in the world can you take prayer out of anything? I mean, wrap your head around that. All right, you blindfold me and I can visualize the prayer. Put a sock in my mouth and put duct tape over my mouth and I'll hum a prayer. I mean, look at my toolbox, take a hammer, hit me upside the head, and as I'm totally unconscious, I'll be dreaming a prayer. As a matter of fact, this message really isn't a lesson in the global classroom. This is a prayer for this country. This is a prayer for you, and it's a prayer for me. How in the hell can you take prayer out of anything? And that's the problem. You see, I know there's only 4 things that you need in life. You need something to hope for, something to love, something to believe in, and something to do. And it is that something to believe in that's a major stumbling block. Yes, I know what you might be thinking. I'm not here to proselytize and I'm not here to convert anybody. But you ask any of my students, I stand before countless generations who haven't had the benefit of school prayer, who don't even know the 4 greatest prayers. And like I said, I'm not here to convert anybody. You're here in my study and I got all the great books. I've never taken a psychology class in my life, from undergrad all the way up to grad school. I've never taken a sociology class I've never taken a biblical study class in my life, never taken a philosophy class in my life. But I would like to think here in my study, I got all the great books. I got almost all the books Howard Thurman has ever written. I got almost all the books Robert Schuller has ever written. I know I probably have all the books T.D. Jakes has written. Marion Wright Edelman, Ernest Holmes, Matthew Fox, Emily Cady. I mean, you name it. I probably got 4 different versions of the Holy Bible. I know I got 3 versions of the Quran. And I got Science and Health with Keys to the Scriptures, Mary Baker Eddy and the like. I got Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind. 2 books that I hold nearest and dear, Albert Einstein and Helen Keller, their vision and their view of God. So what I'm saying, I like to dib and dabble. I like to get the best thinking out there. And you ask any of my students the first day of class, when I pass out the syllabus, the first handout I give them is the 4 greatest prayers. And invariably, I'll get a student say, well, Dr. Kimbro, what in the world does this have to do, with business? And I tell them not a damn thing. But I'm 71 years old and I've been around the block for a while. And I don't know if you're going to be a corporate climber or I don't care if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Life just may knock you down on your knees. And when you get down there, here is some excellent reading material. The 4 greatest prayers. Number 1, of course, the Lord's Prayer. when his disciples went to that carpenter of Galilee and said, Master, teach us how to pray. Do you even understand it? Well, the first line is, Our Father, who art in heaven. Didn't say the black father, didn't say the white father, Hispanic, Asian father. Didn't say the East Indian father, the Hindu father, the Muslim father. Said, Our Father, who art in heaven. Well, if he's our Father, I guess that means that we are all interconnected. We are all interconnected. You see, my mentor from afar, Napoleon Hill, he picked up on this in 1959. That's right. Napoleon Hill in 1959 was given a seminar, a 2-hour seminar in Chicago. And it was a business seminar. And after 2 hours, he opened up the seminar for a little Q&A. And a woman asked him a question, said, Dr. Hill, these principles that you espouse, will they work for anybody? And Hill replied, clarified, what do you mean anybody? And she went on to ask, he said, regardless of race, creed, or color. Now, this is 1959 Chicago, and I'm surprised that there was a woman in the audience back then with all the discrimination and sexism and racism. And, I was a little bit shocked about that. But in 1959, you can imagine who was in the audience and who Hill spoke before. And he replied to this woman's question. He says, let's get one thing straight. There is no such thing as race. And so that really set me on the path and really helped me wrap my mind around who Napoleon Hill really was, his inner working. Our Father, who art in heaven. So does that mean that, you're your brother's keeper? No, it's a little bit deeper than that. As I tell my students, you're your brother's brother. And furthermore, it says, Our Father, who art in heaven. Well, what in the world is heaven? Heaven is not a location. Heaven is a state of mind. You ask me whenever I get around my grandchildren, I'm in heaven. I mean, I can think about all the beautiful things that I've experienced and been blessed to experience in this life. And each time I'm in heaven. What is heaven? It is a perfect relationship with the Creator. What's the next prayer? The Beatitudes. Turn to Matthew. The Beatitudes. And what, it says, blessed are the meek. Well, what in the world does that mean? Does that mean weak? Does that mean, mealy mouth or whatever, somebody that's not getting on with their life? No, it doesn't mean that at all. It means blessed are those that have pushed their ego aside. And what is ego? Be very particular and careful about ego. Ego is any belief other than God. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we enter this world and one day we're going to exit this world. It is what we do in between. And we can only do it by the blessings of God. God can only do for us what you allow him to do through you. Yeah, God's the electricity and we're the lamp. And he doesn't care if the lamp is wooden, if the lamp is metal. He doesn't care if the lamp is plastic. He doesn't care what color the lamp, red, blue, black, pink, whatever. The only thing that he cares is that the lamp gets plugged in. So blessed are the meek. Blessed are the peacemakers. And what does that mean, blessed are the peacemakers? It doesn't mean that one day me and my next door neighbor, we have a fight and then we finally hug, embrace, and shake hands. It doesn't mean that. It means blessed are those with peace of mind. And what is peace of mind? We can see it right now. We got a lot of folks out there without peace of mind. My students always ask me, Dr. Kimbro, it seems like there's more people who hate, there's more evil out there than good people. And I tell them, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, we have probably more people who love and more people who are willing to embrace their fellow man and fellow woman. The only difference is those who hate and those with an evil mindset, well, they hate with conviction. And what in the world is conviction? Conviction is a force multiplier. So whatever you do, be a peacemaker. Blessed are the peacemakers, the absence of all the negative emotions, fear, anger, jealousy, hatred, guilt, greed. And to the extent that you push that aside, you will be a peacemaker. And peace of mind is the absence of all negative emotions. What is the third prayer that we discuss? Mother Teresa. Oh my God. Don't you know the last interview that Mother Teresa ever gave was in this country? As a matter of fact, it was in Phoenix, Arizona, and she was on a little 50,000 watt radio station, and the program manager, who was the owner of the radio station, he was just, embracing Mother Teresa. He was so enamored. People were asking, how did you get Mother Teresa on your little radio station? And Mother Teresa was so kind, she came to Phoenix because they just opened up a new homeless shelter. And that's all she wanted to talk about. But the owner of the radio station says, Mother Teresa, I am so grateful and I am so eternally thankful that you came to my little radio station. There's something I can do for you, Mother Teresa. What can I do for you? And she replied, no, you don't have to do anything for me. I just want to talk about the new homeless shelter opening up here in Phoenix. And he said, well, Mother Teresa, we can go ahead and, we can put out a drive there, a food drive, and make sure that we send it to your orphanage in India and Calcutta and everything. So, your parishioners and your followers will have something to eat. And she says, no, that's not necessary. I just want to talk about the new homeless shelter. And he said, Mother, we can take up a collection. We can raise money for your orphanage and you can take back to Calcutta with you. And she says, no, that's not necessary. I just want to talk about the homeless shelter opening up here in Phoenix. And then he finally threw himself down and said, Mother Teresa, there's got to be something I can do for you to repay you. And Mother Teresa took a pause and she says, you seem like an earnest man and a sincere man. Yes, there is something that you can do for me. And she was in that radio station, and on that chair was a blanket. And she said, you see that blanket over there? I want you to take that blanket. And tonight, between the hours of 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, I want you to go to downtown Phoenix in the middle of the night. And I want you to find somebody who is living homeless on the streets, who believes that he or she is alone. I want you to give them this blanket and tell them that they're not. That's what you can do for me. Mother Teresa said, people may tear down in a day what took you years to build. Will build anyway. Said, give the world the best that you have. And that may not be enough, but give anyway. Because in the final analysis, it's never between you and them. It's only between you and God. And then last but not least, the peace prayer by St. Francis. St. Francis of Assisi. I mean, you got a city, one of our top cities here in the country is named after him, San Francisco. And what does he say? Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there's injury, let me sow pardon. Where there's doubt, let me sow faith. And where there is despair, let me sow hope. I mean, what are the 3 toughest things in the world to do? Number 1, return love for hate. Return love for hate. Number 2, defend the absent. There's 2 sides to every story. Get the total picture. Defend the absent. Everybody needs a voice and everybody needs an audience for his or her voice. And then last but not least is to move on your own personal values. And that's been this lesson today, why I am speaking on this subject. How are we going to solve this problem? And I told you last week, Malcolm Gladwell said any problem can be solved if only enough people care. Well, we got to find somebody who cares about mass shootings, about gun control. And, it's going to take that one individual that don't go to politicians. And look, I'm not a politician and I'm not trying to espouse anybody. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative. I'm a realist. I know what works and what doesn't. And what's going to work at this particular time for us to move forward with our values based on God's 4 greatest prayers. Well, that's the lesson for today. Until next time, this is Dr. Dennis Kimbro in the Global Classroom. And remember, the wealth choice is probably your best choice. God bless.
I don't ever look down, down, down. I'm just focus on his face. I don't gotta know it all. That's a different type of faith.